This episode of Simone Loves Hour is sponsored by TDS Accounting and Tax Services, where we provide a wide range of services. We provide accounting services tailored to your specific business needs. We also provide personal and business tax services. So give us a call today at 202-299-4082. Again, 202-299-4082 to set up an appointment today.
I'm Simone Love, and after my son was sentenced to life plus 527 years, I took on some of the guilt for his predicament, which I portray in this next release titled Sorry, available now on most streaming networks.
I'm so sorry.
Do you like action, adventure, and romance? Good. My name is Rodney A. Nobles. I am the author of the Drifter book series. The series is about a prominent black professional named Max Cordell. He was a high-profile lawyer and world karate champion who owned 2 karate schools. He was falsely accused of having relations with a teenage student. He was stripped of his law license, his school was shut down, and he was thrown into prison. After spending nearly 2 years in prison, the teenage girl admitted it was all a lie. Max Cordell left prison a scarred man. Although he wanted nothing else to do with humanity, he couldn't turn his back on people who were being oppressed by bad people. He used his martial arts skills and his legendary sword to help people, and then he would move on. The people began calling him the Drifter. The book series can be purchased from my website, www.rodneyanobles.com. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to Simone Loves Reality Radio, where we'll be hearing uncut, uncensored conversations about prison love, mental health, addiction, wrongful convictions, and much, much more. I'm your host, Simone Love. Thank you for tuning in, and please enjoy the show.
Listen up, listen in, tell your mom, tell a friend, tuna man. Listen up, listen in, tell your mom, tell a friend, tuna man. Love, 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 love. The Simone Love Show. Love, 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 love. The Simone Love Show.
My son has been incarcerated for over a decade now, after being sentenced to 12 life terms for a non-life-taking crime. This journey, our journey, in our quest for his freedom through activism and criminal justice reform, I've come across numerous inmates. Since they face seclusion from the world, we decided to start recording our calls. Most times, we forget the recording is on, and this is how we created Simone Loves Reality Radio, Dead from Society, Alive for Profit, Voices of the Incarcerated. On this episode, you'll hear a conversation between myself and Mr. Waymond Wright, a gentleman who claims he is totally innocent of the crimes he's been convicted of.
We need to go back to the legislators. They need to change the law because the judge can't do anything because their hands are tied. And I said it. And I was like, well, a lot of stuff that goes on in the system, it just needs exposure.
Right.
And I said if we had an outlet to even, to talk about these things, and then that's how you came up.
Oh, okay.
And I said, you know what? I've been trying to get up with her because, I sent her an email a while ago, which is you. He's like, man, I talked to her. And I said, what? He's like, I talked to her. He said, I'm telling you, I talked to her. He said, I can call her right now. And I was like, all right, because, he's real, real, like, I don't want to say like anxious, but he's just hyper. Yeah, so I'm like, alright, and then, but I've been knowing him for a minute, like, his cousin is my cousin. Like, I've been knowing him pretty much all my life, pretty much.
Oh, okay, so y'all were familiar with each other.
Yeah. This wasn't like no random. We ain't like random people. Like, we knew each other. That's how we started politicking like that. Cause I don't open up like that.
Oh, okay. So he was y'all was talking about the 3-strike law, cause that's what my son is in there for under.
Habitual.
Right.
Yeah.
And I told you
Is he under the A or the B?
I think you asked me that, but I have no idea. But yeah, they gave him I told you 12 life terms. I call it.
Yeah.
And it didn't even killing charges.
Yeah.
They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah. You talk about the disparities in sentencing. So I think looking up stuff like that and disparities of sentencing will do it.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You can argue that. Yeah, because a white joker don't get no time like that.
No, not at all. Like, for real, that's just, outrageous. Just, and I don't know if I told you, for the most part, I think his attorney had his foot in that. His attorney, they all with the Good Boy Network, so, they got together and they said, yeah, we're gonna throw the book at this nigga. That's just what they said. And he thought it was funny. So, they didn't get along the whole time, and they try to get him to take a plea, but I tell him, you already know how that was gonna work out. You took a plea, you would have still got a whole bunch of time. Trust and believe that. So don't, because he was gonna make sure you got the book through at you, and he was hoping you took the plea so that you couldn't find a way out of there. But everybody's time is gonna come. You can't. If you can sleep at night when you do stuff like this to people, then you're not going to have no good luck in the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but anyway, I was just wondering about that, because when I asked Zaki, he didn't, I can't remember. I can't even remember what was said. I'm like, you don't know how my name came up with y'all conversation? Come on, dude.
Yeah, be real, man. Initially we was talking about the head of 3-strike, and then I was like, exposure, and I'm trying to get my situation out there, and I've been trying to get in contact with this female that did a podcast, and then he was like, I said, but because it needs exposure. That's when you came up. And it's like, I got her on my list. I talked to her. I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to call her right now. I was like, I believe you.
He said, I'm going to call her right now. He's funny.
Yeah.
Like you don't believe me? I'm going to call her right now. Watch. So tell me, because your Tom hasn't sent me none of your things.
Hey, okay, I'll call him tomorrow.
But
the transcript.
He might have to copy all that stuff. Just send it to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
mean, I
got it.
What's his name again? Tom. Because I wanted to get started with. Oh, Tom Gallagher. Yeah, here we go. With trying
to. You can send him an email and just ask him, could he forward you the copies of my co-defendant's transcripts, the ones that testified against me at trial.
Okay.
You can send him an email. He'll send them to you, because I already gave him the green light.
Okay. So I got right now, I have this letter up from to Kathleen Jennings.
Yeah.
From, what's her name? Yeah.
Melissa Dill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Says
I should have investigative report that says that I was several feet away.
Yeah. Says I currently represent Waymond Wright. Mr. Wright was prosecuted by Basili Axelrod.
Yeah.
Okay. For 2012 robbery, conspiracy, and criminal solicitation. Mr. Wright had 2 co-defendants during his trial. The victim pled the Fifth Amendment, and all of the testimony was stricken. So is this is from the most recent incident, right?
Yeah, the first incident, yes.
Oh, the first incident. So she's not talking about the second incident.
No.
Okay.
She was just saying the first one, yeah.
Okay. He also, alright, so let's find out where she talks about she says, I also do not believe he is eligible for the actual innocent program because he does not have any new physical or scientific evidence to present. Only facts and information. Mr. Wright is going to seek a new trial based on the information he has recently obtained. I am hopeful that the information contained in this letter will assist the Attorney General's office in determining its position on Mr. Wright's request for a new trial. I would like to discuss this case in more detail with you. Therefore, at your earliest convenience, could you or your staff please contact my office so that we may set up a time to address these issues? And this was written to the Attorney General, Kathleen Jennings, on May 6, 2020. And what have you heard about this so far?
Nothing.
So no response, nothing. Have you been in contact with Mrs. Dill?
Yes.
And she says she hasn't heard anything since?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I was in contact with Mrs. Dill in December.
Mm-hmm.
I got the date written down on my calendar. I can let you know that date. I can be precise with that. And as of that date, as of December, which is last month, no response back.
So the Attorney General of Delaware, Miss Kathleen Jennings, gets a letter even from another attorney and doesn't respond. So we have several inmates that are trying to get her attention, seeking justice, and when she doesn't even respond to another fellow attorney, then there seems to be a problem. Not even received your letter, we're looking at it, give us some time, we're busy, nothing. Not even acknowledging the receipt of the letter.
Absolutely.
So that's just kind of,
Yeah, that's sad, right?
Yeah, that's really sad. So what we gotta do here, so tell me, I guess we can just start from the beginning. I want you to just tell me what happened the day you found out you were being charged and where you were, how'd you found out, or, all those little details. Let's start there.
Okay. Well, they pulled me over and then I got arrested and I found out I had a warrant. I got arrested because I had a warrant out of Glasgow at the state police for robberies.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't even know anything about. So that's how that started. That's no problem. No problem. Whatever questions you ask, I'm prepared to answer them. So.
After this break, we'll hear more from Mr. Waymond Wright, so make sure you keep it locked right here on redmediaradio.com.
Run that shit back, Eli.
When I look in the mirror,
happy you make me feel. I love you. Check this out. You make me feel so you make me feel so happy and good inside. You make me feel so I'm so happy and I know why. When you first asked me to marry you, it was just like a fairy tale. The way you kneeled on one knee and presented me with my ring. At first I had uncertainty, and I don't know why. But now I am very clear of the love I have for you, my dear black man. Check this out. You make me feel so you make me feel so happy and good inside. All right, Mr. Waymond Wright, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. So, we kind of talked about the letter from Miss Dill, and she wrote a letter to the Attorney General, pretty much stating that we have a possible case of innocence.
Well, yeah, she actually wrote that there was a case of actual innocence, and because of the information that she did discover in my case, and which led me to further investigate my case and to get my whole file.
Okay, so prior to her reviewing your information, you didn't have everything. It was her initiating the whole, prying more into the evidence that you have.
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
Because I did receive, I did do I was researching prior to that, and I was looking at a case which my co-defendant was involved in with my attorney, and discovering that I forwarded that information to Ms. Dill, and Ms. Dill stated that there was a conflict of interest, and did I know about it with my attorney and my co-defendant? And I was like, no. So that's pretty much what prompted her to writing that letter, after also reviewing some of the investigator reports that she had in mind.
Okay, so let's just start from the back in the beginning. When did you? What year did you get arrested?
I got arrested in September the 3rd of 2012.
Okay, so the day before you got arrested, tell me about what was going on in your life. Like, was you working? You have a family? Those little details.
Yeah, I did have a family, and I was working off and on, because where I was working at, they were laying off some and come back a few days because of the work. And I was working with logistics, which is associated with the Port of Wilmington.
Okay.
And usually the guys that were staying on board was part of the union in which I was working towards. So I would get, there was weeks I would get, extra hours, and then there was times of the week that I wasn't.
Okay.
So the day before, I wasn't really doing too much. I wasn't working the day before, no, but.
Okay, so when this incident happened, were you arrested the same night, or did it take a few days for them to come to you?
Well, it was like 2 weeks later.
Okay.
I wasn't even aware that there was even a warrant out for my arrest.
So what happened on the night of this incident that caused you to be arrested?
Well, they said there was assault or a robbery that's supposed to have took place, and I actually didn't see no crime being committed.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that there was a few people that was out in the area. I knew, one guy and his girlfriend. So I would talk to them, and I met him where there was when my father was passing away, and he was pretty much there for me at that time. So me and him had like a decent relationship.
Okay.
So though he was in the streets or doing what he was doing, I still did never discriminate against whatever he was doing. I still looked at him as my friend, even though he wasn't, his life wasn't in order at the time.
Okay, so the night of the alleged incident, you had no idea of anybody being robbed or anything of that nature?
Absolutely not. And it's supposed to happen like the wee hours in the morning. I think the time frame is like 6:30 or something like that.
A.M.?
A.M., yes.
Okay. So 2 weeks later, when they came to arrest you, where were you at?
I actually was driving. I got pulled over.
So that was just random?
Yes.
Or did they have your license plate or something?
No, I was driving someone else's car. They attempted to pull me over, and once they got in contact with me, I gave them my name, and they ran my name and said that I had a warrant out for my arrest.
Okay. So they arrested you at that point?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sure you said, why are you arresting me, and what kind of warrant, right?
Absolutely.
And what did they tell you?
They said I was wanted for a robbery, 2 robberies, and I was like, well, when did this occur? I was really like blown away.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty much thinking someone used my name or something like that, and they took me in, and they was like, nah, they're saying it's you. And, I said, okay. So I know I didn't do anything, so I wasn't really worrying about too much anything. So I thought that maybe the person, whoever it happened to, may come in and look and see that I wasn't involved, and I didn't commit no robbery against them, and I would leave, but that wasn't the case.
Okay, so did they give you the opportunity to answer questions, or did you exercise your right to remain silent?
Well, they never asked me anything, so I was never interviewed.
So they just booked you?
Yeah, they just booked me.
Okay, and then what happens next?
Then I go get booked, and then I go to a preliminary hearing. And after going to the preliminary hearing, the officer who had a warrant out for me, which came out of Troop 2, he gets on the stand and he's being questioned. And I have the transcripts also from that hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And as he was being questioned, it was asked of him that they had a surveillance video. He said yes, and he said, is there anything inclusively that's involving Mr. Wright? And he said no. So they said, you don't see there's no crime being committed by Mr. Wright on the surveillance video. He says no. And they still kept my bail the same, which was a random bail, and they still kept me arrested.
What was your bail?
My bail was $287,000 cash.
Okay, so are those the only questions that they asked this detective or police officer about them indicting you on in this crime?
Well, they asked him a series of questions. They asked him other questions, like who was involved, and he mentioned the other people. Then he was saying that the victim identified me as the perpetrator, or not as the perpetrator, but as being involved, and all of this stuff. But there was never no statement from the victim. Even to this day, we don't have no statements.
So where did he find your picture to identify you? Did they give them a lineup, or how did they say that the victim identified you?
Yes, that's what was asked. He was saying that they were presented with a lineup.
Okay.
Now, they were presented with a lineup, but no one later on comes to find out that the officer couldn't even locate the victim. And the victim gave a fake name, and pretty much all the information that he gave the officer whatever it was not truthful. So the victim could never be located.
So who allegedly interviewed this victim on the night of the crime? Did the victim make a 911 call, or how did they even come to speak to this person?
Well, they said it was two incidents that supposed to occur, and one alleged victim, stated that he didn't contact the police until an hour later. So when the police came an hour later after the first incident, it was supposed to take place. Another victim approached the officers, according to what the officer said, and told him that he too was robbed, and so there was some type of language barrier that he said he had, because these were people that were Latino, I guess Hispanic or Mexican. Mm-hmm. So there was a witness that's supposed to have been there that was interpreting for the victims, and he was told through the witness what supposedly had to transpire, and that's the only information that was disclosed or that we had, is just what was the initial contact that he came to the alleged victims and the witness. There's no other information.
Okay, so let me just try to understand that. There were two alleged victims, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Did these two incidences happen on the same night or different nights?
Well, it was supposed to, according to my record that they gave me of the time frame, it's supposed to happen within an hour together.
An hour of each
apart.
other. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about the first incident that happened first, and what supposedly had happened according to, your knowledge of what they're saying.
They're saying that there was someone approached this guy and removed his wallet with a weapon, a knife or something.
Okay.
Come to find out, he never identified anybody. He never even he gave information, I guess, of what's supposed to transpire. This is the same guy that took an hour to contact the police, but that's all I know of it, because he pled the fifth when he came to trial, and the charges was dismissed.
Okay. So you never went to trial for that specific incident?
Well, yes.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Okay.
You'll go? Yeah.
Okay, so when you call me back, we can now talk about the second incident and what happened to that, because you're saying this first incident, you went to trial, but during the trial, he pleaded the fifth, so they dropped the charges? Is that accurate? Okay. All right. So when you call me back, we'll talk about that second incident. Okay. The United States has been the subject of more wrongful conviction research than any country in the world, and those results are troubling. From 1989 to 2017, more than 2,100 persons were wrongfully convicted and subsequently released from prison because of evidence of their innocence. Studies estimate that between 4 to 6% of people incarcerated in the United States prisons are actually innocent. So that means if 5% of individuals are actually innocent, 1 out of 20 criminal cases result in a wrongful conviction. And what is the number one cause of wrongful convictions? Eyewitness error. It is the single greatest cause of wrongful convictions nationwide, playing a role in 72% of convictions overturned. On the next episode, we'll hear more of Mr. Waymond Wright's case and how he will convince us of his wrongful conviction. So make sure you're back here next episode, same time, same place, with Simone Love. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.